Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Bringing you guys a game of Rush, attacking on Isla Inocentes, and I will be using the what do I use? AKS 74U, lightweight magnum ammo, M9 for my sidearm, and all that good stuff. And pretty much this game, I will be chopper whoring it up. And I must first start out and say that this guy who was piloting is a fucking champion, and I wasn't talking to this group of people. I was pretty much playing right here with some friends, and they were in another squad of 4, so I just hopped into a random squad, and this guy is a fucking champion with the chopper, I'll tell you that. And we go pretty long. This is probably actually my longest time ever in a chopper at once, like without getting shot down and killing lots and lots of people, like like right here. But yeah, and not going to really talk about the gameplay because people, I guess, want to hear some crazy stories that I have, and from the last video I posted, and got some funny comments and shit and all that. So I guess I'll share some stories with y'all, and you know, I do got quite a few of them, and I guess I'll start off by the first time I was ever in a police raid. Yes, lots of fun. Not really though, and it was a while ago. I was like 16 at the time, and pretty much it was because of my dad, and my dad was like he was a wild man, and he actually spent most of my life he was in prison, and I used to go visit him and shit in prison. And one time I actually went and visited him, and I met Suge Knight, and if you don't know who he is, look him up on Google, but I met Suge Knight, and that was pretty funny. I've met a few people in there that are, I don't know, I guess somewhat famous, but whatever. And so he spent most of my life in prison, and he actually got out when I was like 16, and he was in there for like 7 years over some bullshit too. But pretty much a year after he got out, the house got raided, and it was at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and this was the first time I was ever in a house raid, and many more to come after that. But the first time was definitely the most, I don't know, intense, I guess I would say. It was a little weird at first, but looking back at it now, it was kind of funny. And pretty much how it went down was I get waken up at 5 o'clock in the morning to the FBI pointing shotguns at my face. Well, one guy had a shotgun, and basically what happened was he threw my covers off of me and told me to pull out my hands and basically just get the fuck up. And it was actually funny when they first came into the room. The night before that, one of my dad's friends wanted my PlayStation 2. He wanted to play Grand Theft Auto because they used to love playing Grand Theft Auto. And this was probably around like when Vice City came out. I don't know if or maybe even before that. I know 3 was out. It was probably around Vice City. And when the cops first came in there, I told them to just take the PlayStation and go take it out in the other room if they wanted to play it. But they didn't want my PlayStation. They wanted me to get the fuck up. And pretty much they got me up and threw handcuffs on me. And I sat on the couch while they tore up the whole house. They tear up the house when they search your shit. And it was pretty funny because the night before that, we actually went to Safeway, me and my dad, and we ran into a guy who said, you know, he had like food stamps or something, like on a credit card, and he's all, whatever you get at the store, give me half of what it costs in cash, and I'll pay for it on my food stamp card. And we're like, cool. So my dad bought hella food, and we bought like, shit, I don't know how many cases of sodas and shit. And so when the cops are raiding the house, they're literally sitting there for like an hour checking every single fucking soda can. I shit you not. They were sitting there for an hour checking every single soda can. And I was pretty much just sitting there laughing at them. And after about an hour or two there, they took the handcuffs off me. They pretty much figured out that I'm not going to go crazy and jump at them and try to hurt them or go nuts in any way. and they took the handcuffs off me. And pretty much my dad was just yelling at him. He went to jail that time. As I said, he went to jail quite a bit. But, yeah, he went to jail, and, you know, it was funny when the cops took the handcuffs on me. I turned on the PlayStation, and I played Grand Theft Auto, and I was killing cops in Grand Theft Auto while the cops were raiding the house. They didn't like that too much. Actually, my dad's parole officer told me to turn it off. They weren't too happy about it. But that was pretty much the first time my house got raided. And it was a pretty crazy experience. It was definitely the most intense police raid I've ever been in, just because that was the only time they ever pointed guns at me like that. Like they came in full force that time, and they actually showed up with like a whole bunch of vans in front of my house, and it was San Francisco Police Department, South San Francisco Police Department, Daly City Police Department, San Bruno was there. The FBI was there, and so was the DEA. And I don't know why the DEA or the FBI was there, but whatever. They were there, and they pretty much hit the house pretty hard. Everything was fucked up. Everything was flipped over and all that shit. They really don't give a fuck when they come into your house. And yeah, and one time they actually raided the house when I wasn't home, and they fucking took $10 I had. And they threw my Xbox on the floor, and that kind of pissed me off. And, you know, they do shady shit like that all the time. I've had really bad experiences with cops. You know, and then around that time, when the first time my house got raided, I used to get pulled over, like, literally every single day by random-ass cops, straight undercover cops. And I used to get harassed a lot, because they used to think I was affiliated in things that I'm not affiliated in. You know, it's all family-related nonsense that a lot of it I can't go into. But pretty much, I could talk shit about my dad though. He was a crazy son of a bitch, and you know, I've been in high-speed pursuits with him because he never stopped from the cops, and he actually never got caught running from the cops. And it's pretty funny out here when you run from the cops. They don't come to your house and take you to jail. They tow your car, and they'll just take your car. So it's pretty funny. And you know, I pretty much grew up around super crazy people and fast cars. And I have some cars of myself. I got 3 cars actually that are pretty quick. And I got my everyday little bucket is a 2000 Golf GTI 1.8 turbo, and I got the blow-off valve on it and intake and exhaust, so when I shift it goes phew, and it makes that stupid noise and shit. And that's just my everyday whatever car. And then I got a 1976 Corvette last year at the Stingray with a 468 big block Chevy, and that thing is a fucking monster, and I got some stories about that car. Oh, I got some stories. And then I got a 55 Chevrolet Bel Air, all raced out. It's got slicks on it, full roll cage, all sheet metal on the inside, and fiberglass one-piece front end. There's no motor currently in that car, though, but that car used to run 8-second quarter miles in the 80s with a small block in it. And it's pretty quick. And, you know, the fast cars are fun, but when it gets to the real high horsepower, it's not fun anymore. That shit's fucking scary, trust me. And my Corvette got a lot of fucking horsepower, and the first night I actually drove it with the big block in it, I snapped every single stud off the rear tires except for one on each side, so it was one lug nut basically holding each tire onto the wheel hubs. And at 5 o'clock in the morning. That was pretty funny. But save that story for another time. Let me know if you guys want to hear more crazy shit. I got stories about a whole bunch of random nonsense and all that good stuff. But we end up winning the game right there, and I didn't really do shit in the game. I was in the chopper most of the time, but I took out one of the bomb sites with the Gatling gun on the Black Hawk, and held down that second base like a boss. But anyways, guys, final score 28-2, and pretty nice KD there. and managed to pull off the win and all that shit. So anyways guys, let me know if you want to hear some more, and peace, have a good one.